So sometimes you know what you know, sometimes you know what you don't know, and sometimes, as the Firesign Theater says, everything you know is wrong.
You know that you're wrong, but you fear you're right. You suspect you're out of sync. You think that you're out of your mind. Everything you know is wrong.
As Earth's natural resources continue to be depleted each and every day, it could be inevitable that we're going to need to look for new places to find the stuff that our everyday lives depend on. But could that mean looking to the cosmos? Earlier this month, at a meeting of the Canadian Space Commerce Association, CSCA Chief Arnie Sokoloff said that he had no doubts that space mining would eventually surpass Earth mining, whether that mining happens on the moon or on the asteroids flying through our galaxy. So if you think that the moon and the asteroids are just pretty things to look at in the sky and not the future homes of massive industrial mining operations, then just maybe everything you know is wrong. Joining me now is Bob Richards, CEO of Moon Express, a privately funded lunar resource company. Hey, Bob, welcome.
Thank you, Tom. Very happy to be here.
So what exactly is Moon Express?
So Moon Express is a resource company that is looking to mine the moon. That's a long way away. It's probably about 10 or 20 years away. The first thing we have to do is get back to the moon. We haven't been to the moon as a civilization for over 40 years now. It's been, you know, the era of Apollo is what's in all of our mind when we saw those ghostly gray figures bouncing around on the lunar surface. But today we're living in a new era. We're living in a new era of technology and a new era of resource requirements for Earth, and it just so happens that our planetary neighbor, the moon, can answer a lot of our resource problems.
What do we know about what minerals or other resources are on the moon, what it would take to get them, and what would be involved in terms of cost to bring them back? I mean, you know, moon rocks are, you know, it takes millions and millions of dollars to get a handful of sand back from the moon. What good is a ton of iron ore going to do if you could just as easily, you know, get it cheaper off the border of Lake Superior?
Sure. Well, so first of all, we know a lot more about the moon than we did even 10 years ago. The recent probes that have been sent to the moon for the last 10 years has shown it as a world that is rich in resources. You know, I grew up in an era where we thought the moon was a dead, dry rock, but it's not. There are perhaps more platinum group metals on the surface of the moon than all the reserves of Earth. But what makes the economic sense is that there's actually water on the moon. The water is rocket fuel, and it can actually change the economics of the Earth-Moon ecosystem. We're in fact expanding the economic sphere of Earth outward towards the moon and the asteroids. One of the things we have to remember is that everything that we value here on Earth, all the resources, is available in practically infinite quantities in space. In fact, the resources we have on Earth, of course, came from space. Right. And just last month, we all experienced that sometimes space comes to us in the form of asteroids and comets.
Yeah, as we saw with that comet. You're saying water is rocket fuel. I'm assuming that you're going to use electrolysis powered by solar energy to split oxygen and hydrogen and then use them as the fuel. Is that what you're talking about?
Eventually, yeah, that's right. Okay. Water.
So question: when the Spaniards in the 15th century conquered South America, Central America, parts of North America, they took back to Spain enormous quantities of gold. What that did was it devastated Spain's economy because gold, you know, their economy had been based on gold being very rare and very valuable, and suddenly there was a lot of it there, and you know it functionally ruined that kingdom, or you know, the next two generations. How, you know, you say there's a lot of platinum there. Platinum's a rare earth here, but platinum is not something that's essential to make things. I guess it is for some things, but you know, would an enormous amount of platinum coming to Earth just suddenly create the Queen Isabella problem?
Well, you know, bringing any massive new resource into the earthly economies will be very disruptive. But that's what we're looking at too, and even though platinum seems to be something that's of great interest right now, it's probably not the thing that is going to be the killer app of the moon or of the asteroids. It's probably something else that we don't know about yet. What we do know is that the amount of resources on the moon, which is delivered by asteroids, is so enormous that if you believe in a future of abundance, which we do, here in Silicon Valley, where the expanding Earth's economy and the need for resources will outpace the ability of Earth to support our growing civilization. We have to look to extraterrestrial resources to support our growing civilization here on Earth.
It's very interesting. What's the next step for you, Bob?
Well, the next step is a baby step. What we're talking about is the first private sector company to reach the moon. That's the first goal of Moon Express, is to land on the moon with a robot. We're still a long way from getting even back there with humans. One of the things that Moon Express is doing is we're competing in something called the Google Lunar X Prize. Google has put up a purse of $30 million for the first private company to reach the moon and send back high-definition photography and video. And that's a very exciting, innovative incentive for us. It's not the whole reason we're going, of course. We see a reason to go in continuing the business of delivering science and commercial payloads to the moon. We're basically building a railroad from Earth to the moon. Much like opening up a new frontier, our first goals are very modest. Our first goals are just to land on the moon, then begin some prospecting, and then bring some materials back from the moon and validate.
Bob, I find it fascinating that Google is funding this. It's like they want to expand their Google Earth franchise to Google Moon. Bob Richards, thanks a lot for being with us tonight.
Thank you very much. A pleasure.